So joining me now is Rick Igercich. He's the president of the National Firearms Association, and Dwayne Gorniak. He is the Alberta director of the National Firearms Association. So we'll talk about some things that are happening federally. And then I want to talk to Dwayne about sort of the political aspect of the recent re-election of Alberta Premier Danielle Smith and what that means for gun owners here in Alberta. But Rick, I think I'll start with you. First of all, thanks guys for joining me. You guys are very busy. You're fighting the government. So I appreciate the time that you're taking to talk to me and update the firearms community who I think there's a strong overlap between your audiences and mine. Rick, tell us what's going on with the latest fight back against Justin Trudeau's gun grab.
Thanks for having us again, Sheila. The latest gun grab, that's the best word, the best descriptor right there. What's going on right now? The SECU meetings are finished, and it is actually in second reading in the Senate. The Liberals are trying to fast track this through Parliament as fast as they can. They want to get this done before summer break. So it is in the Senate. It is in second reading. We have applied to give evidence in Senate. We haven't got a response yet. But I you know what, with a liberal leaning Senate, I don't know if we'll get a chance to give a chance or have a chance to give a statement. I'm hoping that we do. They need to hear from the firearms community. With that said, there's also the Liberals also are recreating the Firearms Advisory Board. Now, this was they had one of these in the past, and it kind of got buried. So that was one of the things that at the end of SECU that they suggested to do, to create this Firearms Advisory Board, and basically they said we're reconstituting the Firearms Advisory Board, and it's going to be represented by all parts of the demographic. And that I'm waiting to see. It's supposed to be a bipartisan committee, but we have applied for that also. But the chances of us getting on that, I think, are pretty slim. I think any gun advocacy group it's going to be pretty hard pressed to get on that board, and that's where we're basically at right now. They're like I say, they're fast tracking. They're trying to push it. They're creating these committees that are going to favor them. And at the end of the day, just like this whole process, the SECU and all these meetings and all this stuff we went through, everything favored them at the end of the day. The only good thing about it was that our people prolonged it, and I think if they can keep doing that and get it closed for the summer. And right now, our best bet is an election. Like I've said before, we need an election. We need to get rid of this government. And I think hopefully things will get more unstable than they are in Ottawa, and there'll be an election call. But we're hoping that's what happens. And from my end, that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, I mean, the Liberals are not against stacking the deck against their political enemies, as we've seen with David Johnston, Justin Trudeau's family friend. And friend to China, being appointed to investigate Justin Trudeau's ties to China and foreign influence peddling in Canada. So, it's nothing new that they would stack this advisory board full of social justice activists, doctors against gun violence, feminists, but you won't see Olympic sport shooters. You won't see industry advocates. You won't see advocates for the firearms community on there, I think, in any real capacity whatsoever.
No, and and that's the game they play. Like I say, we need a government change, and we need it quick.
I want to ask Dwayne. I'll bring you into the conversation here since you're waiting there so politely. But I saw the other day that the Liberals have declared a national day against gun violence, as though there's anybody for gun violence except the gangsters. What do you think of this just shameless virtue signaling?
It's what the Liberals always do. They have to put a label on something. It's always divide and conquer. And we've talked about this in the NFA, and we're thinking about a new campaign called Anti-Violence 365. Our whole society should be anti-violence, 365 days a year. And the Liberals have to paint everything as the term gun violence. And, we have the stance of there is no such thing as gun violence. It's just violent and criminal behavior, period. And the problem with the Liberal system is they're actually creating it. We call them a farming industry. If you can picture the courthouse as a combine, and the police are taking the criminals and they're dumping them into the combine, during harvest. And then the judges and the lawyers and the bureaucrats process these criminals, and then they punt them right out the front door back onto the streets. So I can't call it a justice system anymore. It's a catch and release legal industry. And that's how I envision that, and it's unfortunate for the police, because the police are getting to the point where I have a lot of personal friends that are police officers, and they're so frustrated with it, because it doesn't matter how much they do their job, the Liberals are turning their job into a meaningless situation with their way of doing that. And again, it should be just anti-violence, period. And that's how I look at it. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of demoralization in police services across the country, not just the RCMP, but our local municipal police forces. And a lot of it has to do with the catch and release system that we have here in Canada, the flawed bail system, and then the wrongful targeting of the friends and neighbors of police officers as criminals. And there's, this National Day Against Gun Violence. It's sort of meant to pit the firearms community against anybody else who, to paint the firearms owning community as people who are quite possibly for gun violence. It's all very strange. It's like why don't you just go and make murder triple illegal while you're at it? Maybe the criminals will listen then. Go ahead.
So are we going to have a national anti-murder day? It's crazy how they label everything. And you're exactly right, Sheila, how they're going to actually paint us, all three of us here in this interview and discussion. It's going to go against us, and it's not going to do anything against the gangs. With the issue there, and Pierre Poilievre just released some stats there on his Twitter account there about the gangs, how the violence is up. And for as long as I can remember, criminal activity, and especially gang activity, every time we get a Liberal government in power, it goes up.
Oh, hey, what you just saw there is a clip from my weekly full-length show, The Gunn Show. It airs on Wednesday, but this is the internet. You can watch it whenever you feel like. You just have to become a subscriber to our paywalled premium content. Just go to rebelnewsplus.com to become a member today.